Greetings, book lovers. Welcome to my bookshelf review of Into Thin Air by Jon Krakauer. Now, I don't read a whole lot of nonfiction, but this is by far my favorite nonfiction book I've ever read. I mean, this is a fantastic book. And what it talks about is in 1996, there was this Everest disaster, they call it, where a bunch of different expeditions and climbers were going to summit push day on Everest, and a storm comes in and it wreaks havoc, and a lot of crazy stuff happens. People died. It's rather tragic. I don't think it was the worst single day disaster, but it was definitely up there. If you ask any serious climber, he's going to know about this kind of tragedy. So anyway, so Jon Krakauer, he was actually on the mountain when it happens. He was in one of the expeditions, and he basically wrote about it. And this is kind of his like first-hand account, his experience. Now, if you're not into climbing or hiking or anything like that, I'd still recommend this book because he does an excellent job of bringing you into the mountain. He talks about the history and culture and kind of the mountaineering community of Everest. He really brings you into the world and gets you more knowledgeable about high altitude climbing. If you're not familiar with Everest or mountaineering or anything like that, he does a good job of introducing it. It's very immersive too, just the way he writes. When you're kind of reading, there's some parts where he's really physically exhausted in the upper death zone of Everest. You almost you're it feels like you're just lack of oxygen, and I mean, it's just so immersive. You feel tired when you read this book. I mean, it's just that good. It's definitely a page turner. I flew through this book. I mean, it's not even that long. It's a couple pages, hundred pages long, but you'll get through it pretty quick. And what's really great about it, I mean, here's a photo in the back of one of the groups. The people there, I mean, they're just everyday real people. One guy is, a mailman. There's a couple doctors, just people from all over the world, just climbing Everest. And there's a movie on it too called Everest. It came out a few years ago. I mean, the book's much better. That's par for the course. But it's not too bad. But yeah, highly recommend it. I know there's a few other books on the disaster that wrote about it. I know one Russian climber who actually did some pretty heroic stuff. I can't remember his name. He wrote a book, and one of the doctors wrote a book too that survived. I've read they're not that good. They're on my TBR, but my TBR is about this long, so I haven't read them. But if you want a good starting position for a good nonfiction book about Everest and just a completely different world, different type of tragedy, some crazy things happen here. It's rather shocking. So anyway, Into Thin Air, highly recommend it. Check it out. Until next time.